In the small, quiet town of Evergreen, Montana, Theodore John Kaczynski, known to most as Ted, lived a solitary life in a cabin he had built himself. Isolated from society, he surrounded himself with books, equations, and his own thoughts. Once a brilliant mathematician, he had left behind a promising career in academia to retreat into the wilderness. Ted believed that society, technology, and the rapid advancement of machines were a threat to human freedom. As the years passed, the isolation began to weigh on him, not just physically, but mentally. The books he once devoured no longer provided answers, and the equations he solved felt less like triumphs and more like futile distractions. Ted began to focus on the one thing that truly consumed him: his hatred for technology. He was convinced that people didn't understand the gravity of the technological takeover, and so he decided to make them understand. It was late one evening when Ted scribbled down the first draft of what would become his manifesto. His hands shook with a mix of feverish excitement and frustration as he poured his thoughts onto the page. Technology was poisoning the world, he believed, and the only way to stop it was through violence. But his genius wasn't in the weapon. It was in the mind behind it. Ted knew that fear could be the catalyst for change. Fear would make people stop and listen. He began researching bomb-making techniques, piecing together the components in his secluded cabin. His mind, sharp yet twisted, dissected each piece with the precision of a surgeon. But he wasn't just building a bomb. He was constructing a message, one that would shake the world to its core. Ted's first package was sent to a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, a man who, to Ted, symbolized everything wrong with the modern world. It arrived, wrapped carefully in brown paper, to an unsuspecting victim. The bomb exploded in a flash, killing the professor instantly. The news was everywhere, but no one had any clue who was behind it. Ted sat in his cabin, watching the chaos unfold on his small television. A cold smile crept across his face as he lit a cigarette. He didn't feel remorse. Instead, he felt satisfaction. He had struck a blow against the very thing he had fought against his entire life. The world had finally noticed him. The FBI scrambled to make sense of the killings. At first, they believed it was a random act of terrorism, but as more bombs were sent, each with a distinct mark, carefully crafted notes, cryptic symbols, and a signature that said, "The end of technology," they realized they were dealing with something far more insidious. The Unabomber, as the media quickly dubbed him, became a name that everyone knew, yet no one understood. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit worked tirelessly to piece together clues from his past. Ted's brilliance was a double-edged sword. He was careful, meticulous, and always one step ahead. His ability to blend into the crowd made him nearly invisible, and he had mastered the art of misdirection. Years passed and the bombings continued. Ted's letters, filled with philosophical rants, became more frequent. In one particularly chilling letter, he declared that the only way to stop the onslaught of technology was through a campaign of violence. His manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future, was now complete, a blueprint for his twisted vision. But then came a twist. The FBI received an unexpected letter from the Unabomber, offering a truce. If the media would publish his manifesto in full, he would stop his campaign of terror. The world was torn. Should they give in to the demands of a killer, or should they refuse and risk more lives? Ted sat back in his cabin as the decision loomed, knowing that the publication of his manifesto would either lead to his downfall or solidify his legacy. He watched as the media began to debate the issue, sensing that the world was finally on the brink of understanding his message. They were so close, he thought, yet so far. The FBI, through a stroke of luck, tracked down Ted's brother David Kaczynski. A breakthrough came when David, after years of trying to reconcile with his estranged brother, finally recognized the writing style in the manifesto. He tipped off the authorities, who immediately moved in. Ted's arrest was swift, and it sent shockwaves across the nation. The Unabomber, the genius-turned-killer, was finally in custody. The world now had the answers, but the questions remained. Was Ted truly a visionary? Or was he simply a man who had allowed his intelligence to twist his sense of right and wrong? As Ted stood in court, staring at the judges with a mixture of contempt and defiance, he never once showed remorse. His genius had led him down a path of destruction, and in the end, he had become the very thing he had once feared. a cog in the very machine he sought to destroy. Years after his capture, Ted sat in his prison cell, reflecting on the path he had taken. His manifesto had been published, and parts of it were quoted in academic papers, debated in universities. He had made his point, but at what cost? His mind, once a sharp tool for discovery, had become the weapon of a man consumed by anger and paranoia. The world he had tried to destroy had only evolved further, with technology advancing in ways he could never have imagined. And Ted, the genius who had tried to stop it all, found himself in a prison cell, a forgotten relic of a world that had long passed him by. Like and subscribe for more. This story delves into the complexity of Ted Kaczynski's descent from brilliant academic to terrorist, exploring the emotional depth and psychological twists that defined his journey. The story reminds us of the dangers of unchecked genius and the cost of living in a world that refuses to listen.